So welcome everyone. It's good to see all of you. Now, have you brought any questions along? Anything that interests you? Paul, what's your question?
Can you talk a bit about renunciation for a household, for a lay person?
Renunciation for a lay person?
Yeah.
So when we talk about renunciation, we always talk about a state that drops, that lets go of something. The purpose of it is to become light. This is the purpose of letting go. The more you let go, the lighter you become, and that lightness is almost, it helps the natural buoyancy of the spirit to ascend, to lift up. The more heavy you are, the more you're weighed down by things, by objects, the less your spirit can move up. So the whole idea of renunciation, and it's very often misunderstood. A lot of people think, oh, wait a second, renunciation, does that mean you have to kind of give up everything that you enjoy? Most people think that's renunciation. That's only partially true. There's some truth to it, but you have to do it right. If you want to give up things that you enjoy, you always should have something that's better. It's a golden rule. If you don't have anything better, don't give up what you're enjoying currently. So it's a matter of purifying your joy, making it more intense, liberating it, unlocking it, opening it up so it can expand, become more powerful. And we can only do that if we start by renouncing all those actions that weigh us down. So we start right there at the realm of physical, verbal actions. What could you renounce? What could you let go? That's hurting you and others anyways. And as you let go of those things, you will see, wow, life becomes easier, things get nicer, relationships get better. For some people, it means renouncing to say yes to everything. For others, it means renouncing saying no to everything. You have to find out what type you are, right? Many times we say yes to things that we don't really want to do. Maybe we want to please other people. Maybe we are afraid of them not liking us, so we kind of become fake. Could you renounce that? Could you let go of that? And I guarantee you, life becomes easier, better. Suddenly you have time. Suddenly you have more energy available to do better things. That's that lightness. Now you can lift up because nothing is weighing you down. So you have to figure out, what is it that weighs you down, and you have to drop it. You have to cut the ties. You know, they have these hot air balloons, right? And in order to rise up, to move up, they have to throw down ballast, I think. They're weighed down by several things in the beginning. They have these, I think, these sandbags or something like this, and they regulate the height with either throwing them down or something like that. I have never been in a hot air balloon. It's just kind of an image that comes to mind, right? If you throw out all the things that keep the balloon down, the balloon will naturally go up. So your spirit is like that balloon, and it's tied to many things. So what are you tied to? Don't think family. way too big of a thing. Don't think the things that you really love, like my work, my things I'm passionate about. I love painting, I love sports, love doing my weights every night. It gives me happiness and joy. I love chocolate. I don't know. Wait a second. What is it that truly weighs you down? Things that have priority. What in your life right now is the biggest source of suffering for you? Start there. What are you doing on a regular basis every day that truly gives you a hard time? That's not good for you, that you know you should not do. I can give you an example from my own life. One of those things, very practical, very down to earth. It's like in the afternoon, usually I feel like, I would like to have one of those sweet Thai teas or something like that. I really like them. But it's not good for me at all, And so today I told my wife, just could you get me one of those teas, like when she goes outside, and bring it back. And I kind of knew while I was saying, like, I didn't want to do it, but now I had one, and so now the mind is all buzzy because of the sugar that's in it. And it took a long time in the meditation to let go of that inner noise that this creates. So here is something unskillful. I constantly tell myself I should let go of that, but I don't. Because it's just so tasty, that's the problem. Lots of the weights that keep us tied down, they're not ugly weights. They're not something that's by nature repulsive. Most of these things are by nature really attractive. You kind of want to be involved with it. So in order to let those weights go, you first have to contemplate them thoroughly until you understand, oh yeah, actually they are really harmful. And only when that contemplation has gone so far that you actually feel repulsion when you think about those things, and you start striving to let them go, it's quite natural. Like I have had a few times now where this sweet tea gave me this buzz afterwards, and couldn't sleep very well afterwards, couldn't fall asleep at night properly. It took a long time, and so having seen that for many times now and voicing it right now makes me feel like, nope, I don't want to do this anymore. That resolve becomes stronger and stronger and stronger. It might still happen again, but chances become less and less, because each time it happens I see, wow, it hurts me. So you have to pay attention to that. You have to pay attention to the fact that those things that you're doing are hurting you. Instead of paying attention to the good taste. That's what people usually do. They pay attention only to the good taste. And when it's about the results of the good taste, namely the hurt that comes after, they kind of push it aside mentally. So you have to turn that around in your mind. Contemplate the downfalls of it until you have a natural desire to drop it. That's the right way. The wrong way would be, I shouldn't be drinking those sweet teas. I know I shouldn't be drinking them. They're not good for me. But they're tasting so good, like now I don't like this kind of Buddhist idea of giving up everything. Oh, renunciation, that's for monks. It's not for lay people. I can't do that. I'm not far enough on the path to let go of my sweet tea. That's a wrong thinking. We have to bring our attention to a very honest reflection of what we are doing, and we would only do that if we have suffered enough. So many people, they are kind of readied by suffering. To be honest with you, I think you cannot force renunciation. But by observing your suffering without escaping it, it naturally happens. it's a natural thing. You truly contemplate what's behind all that. You kind of naturally feel, oh man, this is kind of, there's something fishy about it, I don't like it. Maybe I give it up. One day I'll give it up. Now the seed has been planted. Next time you do it again, you find yourself confirmed. Yeah, exactly, it leads to suffering again. And for some people, they have to go through this cycle hundreds and hundreds of times before they are able to finally release it completely. It's like, gone. I've had enough. And then there is no more. There's times for people, they're so fed up with hurting themselves. They've done it so many times, they come to a point where they're just full. They've had it. Enough. I've experienced many such moments in my life, and it's like, enough. I've done that many times, enough. And very often it's through a massive amount of suffering that comes from wrongdoing, from actions that could have been avoided, and then the result is massive suffering. It traumatizes you. You never want to do it again. Something like that. That's letting go. That's renunciation. You're renouncing something that hurts you because you understand clearly it hurts me. And that's the same for monks and lay people. Same. Completely the same. I think you should only become a monk moved by renunciation. That's the ideal. Like, I think in the old tradition, that was the point. You went to the Buddha, you want to be ordained because it's like, I don't know, there's nothing much left for me. I'm totally disappointed in the world. I'm disappointed in feeling, I'm disappointed in the body, I'm disappointed in the mind, I'm disappointed in people, I'm disappointed in everything. Free myself from it. I'm done. I have no more feelings for this world, I want to get out. Then these people would ordain. That would be the highest kind of motivating factor to become a monk, to become ordained. But it's the same for lay people. For us, we're kind of more entrenched in household activities. We still see a lot of importance in them, so they keep us weighed down for a while. And many people are scared. They feel, oh, when I start practicing meditation, will I become this kind of person that nobody wants to hang out with anymore because I get so boring, I get so flat, I can't do anything. Oh no, you don't need to ask Tobi. He doesn't want to go to the fun fair. Let's go without him. Tobi is renouncing all the fun in the world. He's just sitting in his home. He's not doing anything anymore. I no need to call him. Will I end up alone? Will I be completely isolated at some point? Will nobody love me anymore because I'm renouncing the world? These are fears. They're real fears. For some people, they act as a proper block for deeper meditation. They're scared of deep meditation because they fear they will lose everything. They sense that. And it's kind of true. In order to enter deep meditation, you have to completely give up everything. That's why we cannot enter it. We are stuck to this body. We don't want to drop it. Yeah.
That's the experience in deep meditation that is so pleasurable that it makes you give up the world.
Exactly.
You can't get there before.
Exactly. It's slowly, right? You kind of dip your toe into the water first and you're like, ooh, that's nice. Might as well put my foot in. And you put your foot in and it's like, ooh, it's pretty nice. Maybe I could put my leg in. Tomorrow I'll put my leg in. I'll put my lower leg in. And you just kind of do it, and you don't really want to just kind of drop yourself completely into the water and drown in it. We don't want to give up our body, our mind, our thoughts, our future, our past, all these things, our will, our control, all these things we don't want to give up. Our intentionality, we don't want to sacrifice it. These are all things to renounce. Will, control, identification. these are the blocks for deeper meditation. Sensuality, right? Kamachanda is one of the first one of the 5 hindrances for deeper meditation. It means this kind of being enchanted with the senses, thinking of sensuality, thinking of things about the senses, and being just plainly, the mind is stuck to the external senses. It's not easy to let go of sound, for example, or feelings in your body. To feel the body, you will feel the body for quite a while. Although when you get deeper and deeper, it's kind of very carefully, you let go a bit more, you let go a bit more, the body starts to disappear. Nice. But you don't really trust it yet, so you have to learn to trust it. And in that learning of trusting this state where the body vanishes slowly, where the thoughts are vanished, where you're basically just empty, that emptiness we're scared of. But that's where the spirit is light. That's where it can lift and raise. It cannot raise as long as it's filled with stuff, such as the body, feelings, thoughts, etc. It cannot ascend. It weighs you down, but it's all stuff that you like. You're enchanted by it, and being enchanted with it is a good word. So you have to reflect on the downfalls of it, in combination with seeing beyond it. In meditation practice, for example, you get a glimpse of how it's like when you give up your body, or how it's like when you give up feelings, emotions. How is it like when you give up thinking? How does that feel? Ooh, it all feels wonderful. It feels good. In combination with that, immediately reflect on the downfalls of attaching to those things that you just gave up. Or see, when it's gone, I feel nice. When it's back, I feel heavier immediately. Aha, interesting. Then don't form any conclusions. Simply keep observing like that. Again and again, it will fuel your desire to give up more and more. Because giving up is nice. If anybody ever tells you, renunciation, you have to give up all your worldly possessions, and it will hurt, and the spiritual path is not, it's gruesome, it's hard, you have to grit your teeth, and you have to give up all that stuff that you're attached to right now. Attachment is not good. All that kind of talk, I don't agree with it. I don't think it helps people to enjoy giving up, and that's the point. You want to enjoy giving up, because you discover that each time you give up the right thing, you feel better. Oh, if I give up my arms, I feel better. If I give up my thoughts, ooh, I feel better. If I give up my future, nice. If I give up my past, ooh, I like it. That's renunciation right there. It's not this kind of thing like you have to give away your pots and your blankets and your bed and your house and your car, because it's all not spiritual stuff. Your car is very unspiritual, so you better give it up. Where do you stop? So take off your shirt, it's not spiritual. Peel off your skin. Where do you stop? Right? It's not about stuff. There's actually a story in Tibetan Buddhism about a wealthy businessman who owns in a village. He owns most of the businesses in the village. And one day there's a wandering monk. He walks through the village, he gives a sermon, and he talks, and this grips the businessman's heart. He hears of these words. He hears, everybody's going to die, and you will leave nothing behind. And you go completely alone. Nobody will go with you, and all that kind of stuff. And he hears that, and he's just shook. His mind is just shook. He can't. After he just reflects on what he just heard, and reflects more, and he develops this desire for liberation, very strong desire to get out of suffering. And he sees all of his possessions, and he thinks, oh my God, with all of those possessions, how could I ever become free from suffering? I have to give it all up. So he gives everything up, everything he has. He just keeps a pot, a blanket, a cushion, and that's that. And so he moves up into the caves above the valley. And he's like his spirit is so powerfully lifted by that talk, he just kind of want to drop everything. But it's not healthy. Because after the first night it starts snowing. A snowstorm comes in, it gets really cold. There is no chance of finding any firewood or anything like that. Wash your hands and your face with some soap. It's allergy at the cats, I think, yeah.
Some I am, some I'm not.
So there's this snowstorm and all the firewood around the cave is covered in snow. He can't even light a fire, and he's like just in this clam cave. He can't even close the cave properly. All the snow comes in, the wind comes in. The blanket is not big enough. He's just freezing in there. Next morning, the sun comes out a little bit. He gets a bit of a spirit again. It's like, okay, I have to fight through this, and I'm going to try another day. And then it starts to rain. And the thunderstorm comes in, and it's just disgusting. All of his blanket gets totally wet, soaked. There's no way of lighting a fire. It gets colder and colder, and he feels like he's beginning to get really sick. So he makes that decision to give up and go back down into the valley. But now he has nothing anymore. And his family doesn't let him back in because he's made this big proclamation, I'm out. For me, it's only the spiritual path, and so he's like kind of alone now. He's lost everything. So this is that's how I remember the story, at least, something like that. The point of that story is, like, if you give up the wrong way, it's a mistake. It's a big mistake. That is not renunciation. This is like kind of this childlike enthusiasm. You need to be careful when you feel that. Think things through. Think long term. You want to give up things that you anyways feel nothing about anymore, then they drop away anyways from you. You have no more interest in them. It just doesn't matter if it's there or it's not there. It just doesn't matter. Then you've given it up. If someone took it, you don't even notice. You don't even notice. We've already renounced it. There's no more. If you know that someone took it, you also feel nothing. You've already given it up. And we do that by, one, reflecting on the downfalls of the object, whatever it is that you feel very attached to. Think the downfalls through again and again. That will inspire you to give it up. And then in combination with seeing clearly how it hurts you when you engage it. And the long-term effects of that. The dangers of it. How it pulls you down, how it makes you sick, whatever it is. That's your vice. But take it easy, like all this talk of you have to renounce all the worldly possessions, and there's a lot of talk like that. It might be suitable for practitioners who are already far more advanced on the path. Kind of like a challenge or a specific word from your teacher which is just right for that person at that moment. And unfortunately it's made it into a book, and now everyone thinks they have to do that. But it was just right for that one person at that one moment. People often forget. Like the books that are written very often are written for a certain group of people, maybe. Bless you. It might be written for a certain group of people, or for a certain person, or something like that. And then you read those books and you think, that's what we should do. There's not much you should do, it's just watch what you're doing and the results of what you're doing. Just watch carefully. Am I creating long-term suffering for myself or not? Or am I creating long-term benefit for myself or not? Skillfully observing your mind in terms of what I'm doing right now, does that create contraction and tension in my being, or does it create release and openness in my being? That's a form of renunciation too, that kind of openness, because nothing collides with it, it doesn't grab anything. That openness is already release. And a nice one in terms of the practice is just keep releasing future and past. Concentrate the mind into the present moment. Fill your body with your mind. If you do that, you naturally let go of tension. Because you become aware of it, right? So you get more energized through that. Becoming a bit more healthy through that. Getting better ideas through that. The mind brightens up. The whole path is one of renouncing tension in the body, renouncing future, past, renouncing words and sentences, and renouncing multiplicity, making the mind single-pointed, then gradually renouncing the body, the will, the doer, going deeper, deeper, deeper like that, because you're giving things up. Knowing that it's nice to give them up. Giving up is nice. Putting things down is nice. It feels good. It's enjoyable. You can trust that lightness. And just today, one of my teachers posted simple instruction: stop it. Just put it down. Just stop it. It's a very simple instruction, but that's exactly what that is. It's renunciation. Just stop it. Whatever it is that you're doing right now inside your mind, just stop.
Light.
You feel light immediately, exactly.
I have some doubt about the word renunciation with the practice of meditation. It's something that we build something, we focus something, and that the rest disappears. So it's not a renunciation, it's something that comes out automatically.
Yes.
So I'm not agreeing with this word, renunciation.
Yeah.
And it was in my mind and I stopped it.
There you go. That's you renounce your thoughts right there. Light immediately. That's how it goes. That's how it goes. Very good example.
Thank you, teacher.
You immediately drop it, it's immediately open and nice. It's the holding on to things that really don't matter. They just make you heavy. But you have to feel that and observe again and again. Wow, it feels nice not to do that.
Play with yourself, it's nice.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's how I see it, at least. I see it as it's a fun activity. You drop it and you rise. You drop it at your capacity. You don't drop something if you can't rise afterwards. A Thai master, I think it was Luang Por Dun, he was talking about that ladder example of climbing a ladder. You don't let go if you're not holding on to the higher rung of the ladder. You grab onto the higher rung, then you let go of the lower. That's the right way. So it's an upwards movement. Just letting go of the ladder is stupid. Okay, anyways. And thank you very much for coming today. Have a good night and enjoy your weekend.